I'm Hillary Johnson, and welcome to Flashback, where we look back at local stories from years gone by. Today we go way back to December 1st, 1988, where Thornhill firefighters spread Christmas cheer for those in need.
For 11 months of the year, activity at the Thornhill Fire Department is much the same as at every other fire department, fairly quiet, except when a fire call comes in. But in December, activities at the fire hall take a decidedly different twist. The true spirit of Christmas pervades the hall, and the firefighters turn their efforts to helping those who are less fortunate, specifically children who, thanks to the Thornhill firefighters, will find a special gift under the tree on Christmas morning. The project is called Santa's Workshop. It involves the TK Christmas tree, stacks of second-hand toys, hundreds of hours of volunteer labor, the Salvation Army, and the immeasurable pleasure of scores of happy children who have an extra Christmas gift. It started a year ago when firefighter Bill de la Ronde thought of the donated toys under the TK Christmas tree and figured he could put his fire crew to work on a special Christmas project.
It was just on a whim. TK has been having their Christmas tree for several years now, and I just thought, well, I'll approach the fellows here at the fire hall and see what they think about maybe adding to it a little bit, and it was very well received.
Adding in the sense that you're now taking things that maybe aren't in that great a shape and fixing them up?
That's right. Traditionally, the Christmas tree has been for new toys, and we've been able to take older toys because we have the facilities here to fix them up. So we've been taking old broken toys and either fixing them up or using them as parts to fix up other toys.
So this is the Thornhill Fire Department's contribution to helping out people who are less fortunate.
That's right. Throughout the year, there are houses that get burnt down, and sometimes people, unfortunately, get left with nothing. Insurance doesn't always cover some of the little things in life, so this helps out.
After the firefighters have collected the donated toys from under the TK Christmas tree, any that are broken are repaired. Then comes the gift wrapping. It's a big job wrapping the hundreds of toys, but that's when the families of the firefighters get involved. A feeling of camaraderie develops, and what could be considered work turns into a lot of fun.
Definitely. It's brought a lot of us a lot closer together, especially the wives, because the firemen are always out, and I shouldn't just say firemen because we have several female firefighters on staff, but the spouses are always out doing their thing, putting out fires, getting involved in fire-related activities, and this is one informal activity where everybody can really get to know each other. It's really helped.
So how much work are these men having to do on these toys?
Well, they're coming out at least a couple nights a week for as many as 3 or 4 hours, and there's about 30 of us involved altogether, although not all at the same time. Usually there's a dozen or two.
When the fixing and wrapping of the toys is finished, it forms an impressive sight. All in all, just over 400 toys were readied to make needy children's Christmas a bit brighter. That's more than double the number of gifts the firefighters did last year, and although this is only the second year of the Santa's Workshop, it looks like it could develop into a tradition.
It looks pretty promising. It would be pretty hard to stop now. People have really caught on to what we're doing. This year, as I mentioned, we have double what we had last year, so the word has really gotten out, and we just can't say no.
When the gifts are wrapped and ready, they're taken back to the TK Christmas tree, the first step in getting them to the children. That's when the Salvation Army becomes involved. The Sally Ann is no stranger to Christmas time work to help the needy. The Christmas Kettle campaign is a perennial effort, and with the success of the Thornhill Fire Department's Santa's Workshop program, the Army will likely become an annual partner in this worthwhile cause as well. Officials say the need is definitely there.
We've seen an increase on single mothers, and we've also seen an increase of single people coming into terrace, maybe looking for work, not finding work, and staying here.
After picking up the gifts from under the TK tree, they're taken to the Salvation Army Hall, where volunteers separate them into categories, boys and girls, and the different ages. From here, the presents are distributed to needy families in the area, the final stop in the goodwill chain that is the Thornhill Fire Department's Santa's Workshop. The workshop is a noble effort of the firefighters, but it's not the only way they get into the Christmas spirit. On a December afternoon, the fire hall is again alive with activity. This time, they're decorating the trucks. It's part of the preparations for their annual Christmas Carol campaign.
We started Christmas caroling in 1981. That started off on a real small scale, and like the toys, took off from there. And every year it gets a little bit bigger and longer, and to what we have today.
It takes about 4 hours for the firefighters to decorate the two pumper trucks, which later that night take to the streets of Thornhill, broadcasting Christmas carols for some 5 hours from the brightly festooned trucks.
We're using almost exclusively electric decorations, in other words, lights and illuminated decorations, for the simple reason that we do this in dark hours and you really wouldn't see them otherwise. The preparations themselves that day will go on from about 4 hours before the trucks actually hit the road at 5 o'clock. There's a lot of lights to put up. As I mentioned before, generators to make sure they're ready. And at the same time, we have to bear in mind that these are fire trucks. These trucks have to be ready to go anytime, including halfway through the caroling. So the trucks are decorated with that in mind. They're left totally functional, although it probably doesn't appear to it to the general public.
The firefighters say the mobile caroling is their Christmas card to Thornhill. The generator to power the electrics is fired up, and then the caravan is on its way.
We cover the streets of Thornhill for 4 hours continually. We start at 5 o'clock and we end as close to 9 o'clock as we can. We don't like to go too much past 9 because it's quite loud and there are parents trying to put children to sleep. It's exciting enough time of year without us disturbing them.
So people hear you coming down the street and they come outside to see what the caroling's all about?
Yeah, they sure do. It sort of signifies the beginning of Christmas for many families in Thornhill. We get calls for as much as a month ahead of time asking which night it's going to be and what time do you think we'll be past their house. And it's quite exciting for all the kids and adults. They really get into the swing of things. They come out and greet Santa Claus, who's riding right on top of the big pumper. And it's their chance to get their last request in before Christmas. So it's quite exciting for everybody. There's cookies being passed back and forth, and we try to hand out as many treats to children as we can.
While the Thornhill firefighters spend much of December working on their Santa's workshop and the mobile Christmas caroling, the two programs are really sidebar issues to their prime function, which is, of course, firefighting and fire prevention. And so the Deputy Fire Chief has a few reminders on fire safety hazards associated with the Christmas season.
If your tension cord looks like it's in really good condition, it's probably okay to use. If you have to fool around with it to get it to work, throw the thing away and buy yourself a new one. They're quite inexpensive and very cheap insurance. And the same goes for your Christmas tree lights, especially inside. Use inside lights inside and outdoor lights outdoors. And if the bulbs are burnt, unplug it before you try to put a new one in. And if the sockets are not in very good condition, again, discard it and buy a new string. It's, again, very cheap insurance. Chimney fires at Christmas time can be a problem, especially on Christmas Day. It's a really handy way to dispose of Christmas wrap, which is quite volatile and goes out very fast. And if your chimney is really clean, usually it's not a problem if you burn it slowly, a little at a time. But if you've been a little neglect on cleaning your chimney, it can start a chimney fire, and that's when we come into play again.
And there's one more Christmas season reminder from all the crew at the Thornhill Fire Department.
I'd like to remind them to all have a really good time and sharing what it's all about. That's what we're trying to do here, and we hope you all have a really Merry Christmas.